We are recording and live. So we do have Chris Wattel present, and I just promoted him to a panelist.
Great. Well, good evening, everyone. It's 7 o'clock, and I'd like to call the Thursday, May 25th, 2023 virtual meeting of the Newburyport Historical Commission to order. Please be aware that this proceeding, like all city virtual meetings, is being recorded. Go through the roll call here. Andrew Bernhardt.
Here.
And Mark Cendron.
Present.
And Christopher Fay.
Here.
And Joe Morgan.
Here.
And Chris Sawtell.
Here.
And I'm Biff Baus, Vice Chair. I'm present. Do we have, was Glenn able to join? No? All right.
Yes, I just
oh.
unmuted his phone. I believe he is present.
All right. Glenn, are you present? I didn't hear. Well,
So it's *6 to unmute.
Glenn, can we?
All right, how's this?
Yeah, we can hear you. Great. And
okay, I'm in an not so quiet environment, so I'll mute myself here unless I need to say something. Okay.
Great. All right.
And if I want to get your attention, Caitlin, is it *9 to raise a hand?
That's correct. Yep.
Okay. Thanks very much.
Well, it does appear that we have a quorum. So it looks like also present Caitlin Sullivan from the Planning Department and Gretchen Joy and anyone else from our side. And I believe that's it. All right, so our first piece of business is the demolition delay application for 18 Rawson. I believe we have Scott Brown, architect, present and is able to speak about this application. Is that true?
Well, good evening, everybody. It's Scott Brown, the architect for the project. And Caitlin, if we could just pull up the drawings and just go to the there we go. Perfect. Well, good evening, everyone. I'm here tonight. I'm representing Mark Wojcicki of Wojcicki Development. Mark is both the owner and developer of this project. So these are the existing photos. They were taken in October of last year, which sort of explains the flying witch in the front yard. This is not what this project looks like today. The project is currently under construction. It's been under construction for about 6 weeks or so. And in the course of construction, we've uncovered a few things which really made us reconsider our original plans for this project, and thus have resulted in us being before you this evening asking for a roof line change. So this is a house that's built in 1948. It's Cape-like. It's exactly 75 years old. It's in a neighborhood with a lot of post-war homes. It's a neighborhood with a lot of homes that lack historical character-defining features, and I think this house structure is certainly one of them. And in my opinion, I think there's nothing extraordinary about this house, with the exception of the multiple bees nests that we've uncovered in the front walls during the demolition, and I've certainly found those to be fascinating. And so with that, I think I'll hand it back over to you, and I'll let you folks do your thing with regard to part one.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Brown. So I guess we can open this for discussion within the board. Is there anyone that has any strong opinions they want to start us off with? Not a lot of strong opinions.
Yeah, hi, Biff. This is Glenn. I got an opinion, but I wouldn't say it's a strong opinion. But anyway, my opinion is that I basically agree with Mr. Brown's assessment. The word that strikes me is fairly generic, but that's about it.
All right. Well, thank you. Anyone else have any comments or questions about this particular property?
I just had a question. This is Chris Fay. I had a question, maybe Scott can answer, is just so I understood him correctly. So originally there was just going to be rehabilitation on the house, and then something led
Well,
to...
it was, Mr. Fay, it was a little bit more than that. So this is kind of a whole house, interior and exterior renovation. We're also adding a single-story addition to the back of that, back of this. And so originally we were planning to work with roof line as is.
Okay.
It was only when we uncovered a few things that we really sort of questioned what it is we were doing.
Okay. Right. All right. Thank you.
That's the change in the direction.
Thanks.
And any other questions? Joe, looks like you have a question.
Yeah, I think I just wanted to continue with Christopher Fay's questioning on that. Procedurally, I don't quite understand why just the roof line is by itself is triggering its review by the commission. It seems to me that under any circumstances, if it is 75 years or older, it would be coming to us. So we did not see it before construction started. Why are we seeing it now? Maybe Caitlin can help with that. I don't know.
No, you'd be seeing a project like this only if it included a roof line change. And I guess before the construction was not triggering the roof line change, and now, like Scott Brown said, now it is. So now it's before you.
Okay, so the roof line change is really the only thing. That's true. That's true. I'm sorry. That's true. I'm sorry. I forgot that. Thank you very much, Caitlin.
Yep.
Yeah, and Caitlin, I think this is Glenn speaking. I think this was also outside the DCOD. Does that have any impact on that whole thing?
Well, it is outside the DCOD, you're right. If it were within the DCOD, they'd only be allowed to take down, 25% of the walls before coming before you for an advisory review. And that would be, review for you. But, there's not a DCOD special permit involved with this building.
Right. Thanks.
So just again on procedural,
Sure.
if I may just pursue that a little bit further, just for clarity. In the DCOD situation, 25%, exceeding 25% of an exterior wall demolition would trigger a special permit review by the zoning board. And in in this case, presumably any percentage of exterior wall demolition would be acceptable. It's only the roof line change.
You froze a little bit there, but
Yeah,
correct. That's
Yeah,
that's
sorry.
right, yeah.
So I'm saying that in the DCOD, in this situation, 25% demolition or greater would trigger a special permit review. In this neighborhood, in this particular case, outside of the DCOD, is there any threshold beyond which we would that they would be able to demolish exterior envelope without our review? And only the roof line change triggers our review.
Exactly. You're right.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, good. Thank you. I just asking that for clarification, just
Right.
for
Yep.
my own curiosity.
Andrew, do you have something to add or a question? I believe you're muted. Not hearing you at all. Is anyone else able to hear Andrew?
This is Caitlin. I can't hear you, Andrew. Are you muted? Sounds like maybe you're having a little bit of mic trouble at the moment. I did hear you earlier, though.
Technical difficulties here. Sorry, Andrew. No, I didn't hear any of what you're saying. I'm sure it's very eloquent. Let's see. Well, I don't if anyone other than Andrew has any questions, we can continue on that. I guess I did have one maybe question for Caitlin. So the 75-year and older threshold for these for any home within Newburyport, is there different classifications and based on where it's located? It's not just the 75 years.
No, it's the 75 years old or more is what would make it come under your purview if there's a roof line change.
Got it. Okay.
And I will note, just so you know, that I'm not quite sure if you're going to take public comment at this time, but there are a couple hands raised in the audience, just to let you know.
Oh, great. All right. Would we normally want to take that public comment now, or do we need to address the historically significant status of the building?
Yeah. Hey, Biff, this is Glenn speaking. Yeah. You're free to make this choice as running the meeting now. In the past, if you have the option of allowing public comment at this period, it's not legally required. But if there are people who want to make a public comment regarding historical significance, or pertaining to this part of the this first decision, which is
Sure.
Is it historically significant or not? You're able to do that if you would like to.
Oh, great. Okay. All right. Well, if we do have some folks, I can't see who they are, but if let's see. All right. So if anyone has public comment, if you wish to speak, if you already have raised your hand, we'll speak one at a time, and if you can unmute yourself on your side, and we'll unmute you on this side, and just please provide your name and address before you begin.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
My name is Nancy Jean Egan. I live at 6 Tilton Street, a few doors down from the renovation. And I just wanted to say, I think it's great that the house is being renovated. But it just seems to me that whether this is the roof line only or the entire addition that's being put on, it seems, even though we're a very small and tight neighborhood anyway. It seems really tight to the house right next to it on Tilton. And I'm concerned about the setbacks. And I just wondered if there was any information that could be provided to us as neighbors concerning the setbacks and how they affect the roof line and the walls.
Okay.
Well,
Go ahead.
I'll step in again to that. Again, this isn't really a public Q&A period, but I'll just briefly address that by saying that the historical commission, right, it's not our purview about setbacks and that sort of thing. That is the zoning board of appeals. So I don't remember offhand from when I looked at this particular case if they had variances and that sort of thing to deal with. I think there was. I know there was other approvals besides the NHC that they needed. Most likely ZBA, Caitlin might know. So anyway, that if there are concerns about setbacks, the appropriate place to address those would be at the hearing with the zoning board of appeals.
Is there a meeting such as this one for the zoning board of appeals? This is the first letter that we as neighbors have received so that we could have any comment.
Right.
So it's Scott Brown again. So you're correct, Mr. Richards. Like if we get through this evening, the next step is for us to apply to the zoning board of appeals, because this is a property that is non-conforming for side and front yard setbacks. And a roof line change here is considered an upward extension, which then requires a special permit. Nancy Jean will have the opportunity to comment at that public hearing, but we have not yet applied to the zoning board of appeals.
And Scott, you're the builder?
Architect.
Okay. As I said, I'm really thrilled that the house is getting updated. That's great. But it's been just a little bit of anxiety for us going up and down the street and seeing that the foundation has already been poured. The cement is already there and done. And we can see that it's just exceedingly close to the house next to it.
Well, as I previously stated, we have a full bill for what's being done right now. The structure meets all of like the dimensional requirements of the city, including side yard setback on that side that you're referring to, which is 10 feet.
Okay, so there's 10 feet. That's what I thought it was. There's 10 feet between the house next to it and the foundation of.
Well, actually,
this
quite
house.
a bit more if you're measuring from the addition to the house next door. But we are only required to be 10 feet away from the lot line on that side, and I believe we are more than 10 feet. I think the setback is about 11 feet or so from the property line to the addition.
Okay. And we'll have an opportunity to look at that a little bit further, you're saying, at upcoming meetings?
Correct, yeah. If in fact we do apply to the Board of Appeals for the special permit, you will also receive an abutter notification of that and have the opportunity to comment at the hearing.
Great. That's great. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Is there anyone else? Looks like we have one other folks.
Yes, there's one more person I just unmuted named Colby.
Yeah, hi,
Yeah.
thank you. This is Colby Barber. I live at 3 Tilton Street across from the building that's being renovated. My question was, Nancy asked a couple of questions that I had, but the only additional one I had is, doesn't the addition in itself change the roof line? So wouldn't the roof line already have had to have been approved in order for the addition from the historic perspective?
Again, it's Scott Brown. No, not at all. I mean, the addition it's a single-story addition that lands below the existing roof line.
Okay. And it's just a regular roof line, or is there any like cupola or anything like that being built on top of it?
No, there's no cupola.
Okay, okay, great. Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Any other, do you have another comment?
Well, yeah, there was only one other comment on the going back to the setback on the foundation. Is the setback from, it looks like there's like going to be like a bulkhead to exit out of the foundation. Is that where the setback is measured from?
In the city of Newburyport, setbacks are measured to the building line. And so bulkheads and other features are allowed to be inside the setback.
Okay. So the setback would be from the foundation itself, not the bulkhead. Got it.
Correct.
This is Glenn speaking on the phone. So Scott, I didn't hear you explain exactly why you needed to raise the roof slightly. I got the impression from the documentation that was filed that the overall design and the roof and everything was going to look the same as it does, or as it was going originally. It just had to be I think it was about 1.5 feet higher, something like that. But I didn't hear you explain why that was. I assume it had something to do with additional framing and that sort of thing. If you might just say a brief word about, what, to clarify that might be helpful.
Yeah, well, correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Chairman. Don't we need to determine whether or not this is historically significant before I'm happy to go into this with more detail, but I think we need, correct me if I'm wrong, don't we need to get past part one before I go?
Yeah. No, you're right.
Detail?
You're correct. The first decision we need to make is it historically significant or not. Someone can probably make a motion on that now, unless there's more debate and discussion.
Can anyone hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you.
Good. Guys, I played around with. I'm just curious if there's pictures of the surrounding neighborhood, the surrounding houses.
Yeah, that's actually part of the application. I think that's the last sheet.
Can we just see them?
Set.
Okay.
So I've just taken, some photos of the immediate abutters, and I believe 3 Tilton is on there. Can't remember his last name, but his first name's Colby. He's a gentleman that just spoke. Nancy Jean at 6 Tilton is off the map there. You can see 4 Tilton. Lower left-hand corner is like 28 Highland. I believe that's, kind of a recently renovated house. That's built in 1952. 1 Tilton directly across the street, built in 1920. 16 Rawson, upper left-hand corner, immediately to the right. That was renovated by Mr. Wojcicki a couple years ago. And upper right-hand corner, that's 3 Tilton. It's across the street. I think that's 1964, and 2 Tilton, directly above the that site plan there. That's directly behind this property, and you can see the excavator there, actually doing some backfilling on the foundation that's currently in place. 2 Tilton's built in 1941, also a cape.
Right.
Thank you.
Anyone else have any other questions, comments before we move on to decide the historical status? No. Does anyone like to make a motion as to this structure is historically significant? It's historically significant and considered for preservation?
Yeah, this is Joe Morgan. I move that 18 Rawson Avenue is historically significant and should be considered for as preferably preserved.
I'll second that. Chris,
Great.
this is Chris Fay.
Great, thank you. So Joe Morgan, and was seconded by Chris Beck. All right. All right, so we are voting that this structure is historically significant and considered for preservation. So around, let's see, Andrew Bernhardt.
It is historically significant, yes.
And Mark Sandrone.
No, it is not historically significant.
And Christopher Fay.
I'm a no.
Joe Morgan.
No,
And Chris Sawtelle.
I vote yes, that it is historically significant.
Right. Glenn.
I'm a no on that. Thank you.
And I will vote in the affirmative. Although it looks like we do not have a quorum on that, so it looks like it is not passed. And so this home is, we're saying, is not historically significant and nor already for preservation, correct?
Yes, correct.
All right.
Great. Well, thank you, everyone. And like I said, our next step is to apply to the zoning board of appeals. So those abutters or neighbors that spoke tonight will be getting a notification in the mail and have an opportunity to comment on the project again at that hearing.
Okay, great. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Right. I believe that is all the since we will not need to look at the actual plan, that we can move on to some general business. Has everyone had a chance to look over the minutes? And if anyone is comfortable, can they make a motion to approve the minutes from the 11th, March 11th, or I'm sorry, May 11th?
Yeah, did someone second? If not, I'll second. That was Glenn.
move to approve.
Okay, Joe, that was Joe
That's
making
right.
the motion, and
Yes.
all right. And Glenn is seconded. Okay.
Yeah. In reverse order, that's fine.
All right. Well, no, I don't think anyone had said anything, or at least I didn't hear it, but I heard it now. All right. Let's see. Andrew, your vote.
Yes.
And Mark Centro.
I was absent, so I cannot
Oh,
vote.
no. All right. Abstaining. And Christopher Fay.
Yes.
Joe Morgan.
Yes.
Chris Sawtelle.
Yes.
Glenn.
Yes, affirmative.
Yeah, and myself, I will also be in the affirmative. So be able to approve those minutes. And then I guess the last thing I can talk about it, but if you would like to speak about it, Glenn, regarding the site visit to the jail, and
Can I
it sounds like
Can I just ask a question
Yeah.
first here?
Oh, sure.
I'm curious. The vote was 3-3, right? The vote that we just had was 3-3?
You're talking about on the historic
Yeah.
significance?
Yeah.
I'll defer to Biff. I wasn't counting.
yeah, it was 1, 2, 3. No, 3 to 4.
Oh, okay.
And it sounds like Andrew. Andrew, this is Glenn. It takes 4 yeses for any motion to pass. So even if it was 3-3, it would still, wouldn't pass.
Right. Okay.
It would
I was
pass.
wondering
That's
what
what
happens with 3-3.
Yeah, it does. The key thing is 4 yeses. it passes. Anything less than 4 yeses, it does not pass.
Which means they move
Regard-
forward.
Right.
Correct.
They go on to their next step. Correct. There's no demo
Okay.
delay.
Okay.
Right, which is why we're not even
Like path,
looking
not
at the
pass.
plan. Yeah.
Right.
All right. So yeah, all right. So yeah, moving on, we were gonna talk about the site visit. We need to
Yeah,
set
so-
a date.
Yeah, I'll be brief here, and I hope you can hear me okay. Anyway,
Yeah.
we've been working. By we, I mean myself, Caitlin, Andrew Port, the owner Chuck Griffin, his lawyer Jeff Roloff. We've all been really kind of ramping up the effort to nail down and finalize and get recorded the preservation restriction for the old jail properties, plural. It's a rather complex affair involving multiple lots and multiple structures and so on. But I think that they've got the PR in good shape now. We thought that because it's so significantly, overhauled, not in terms of its actual content or spirit, but just in terms of how it's presented, that we should bring it back to the commission for taking a look at it, verify that it adheres to the spirit of what was agreed to and passed back in 2019, which is what happened. In 2019, the board that, as was constituted back then, approved a draft of the preservation restriction. So today's or the latest rendition of it is essentially, basically what it does is tries to remove some of the ambiguities that were in the first one. It contains a lot of pre-approved things and exemptions, and what this is trying to do is help make it easier for both current and future owners and current and future board members to know when something is either permitted or not, when it needs to be reviewed, or when it can be done by right, and so on. So anyway, because so many of you all were not on the commission back in 2019, we all, in this case again, meaning like myself, Andy Port, and so on, agreed that it would be really, really helpful to have the owner walk you guys through the properties so he could explain what is being preserved, what was pre-approved, what the whole thing was about. And I really think it would be helpful so that you all have a good understanding of what's involved there. So that's the gist of it. So Chuck, the owner, is either has left or is about to leave for a short vacation, but he'll be back June 8th. I believe at the meeting on June 8th, his lawyer is going to be able to present a draft of that, or at least make it available. What Chuck has asked is that sometime between June 8th and in the following meeting, which is the 22nd, I think. I'm not looking at my calendar right now. We do have, we have a site visit. So maybe, for example, that Saturday, the 10th or something, I'll let you guys discuss, hopefully you've got your calendars, you can see if you can, make a date sometime between those two meetings to have a site visit.
Yeah, it looks like either it should be the 8th and the 22nd would be our meeting. So
right,
maybe the weekend of the 10th and 11th, or the 17th and 18th is Father's Day weekend, if that makes any difference.
Right.
So yeah, maybe
Yeah, which one is Father's Day, Bill?
the 18th.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I know that I can say that the 10th is good for me. I have nothing on my calendar so far that day, and this would only take half hour to an hour, something like that. You guys all know where the old jail is, I assume. So
Yeah. Should we? Is this something we can just set up through email, coordinate a time?
That's possible, I think. Unless people can know if anyone has a conflict with, let's say, if we're going to propose that Saturday the 10th, does anyone, we can ask right now if anyone has a conflict with that date, so we know whether that's potentially a good date to shoot for or not.
10th is good for me. Anyone else have any objections to the June 10th, Saturday, June 10th? I'm imagining it wouldn't take us very long. We could,
I'm sorry, what was that?
I imagine it won't take us too terribly long anyway. So that will be there for hours. So, so it seems like no one's objecting to the 10th. So I'd say let's pencil that in, and via email we can coordinate a specific time and make sure that,
Yeah,
that the owners
that-
and everybody will be available.
yeah, that sounds good. I know, and if people want to keep their, not take up the whole day, maybe we can try to shoot for, like late morning or something like that, like, I don't know, 10 o'clock, something like that, so you don't kill the whole day.
Sure.
And we can finalize that by email, that'd be fine. Was that Biff proposing that? I couldn't tell.
Yeah, for the 10th at 10 a.m. Let's go with that for now, and we can finalize that over.
Okay.
email.
Yeah, that would be excellent. That'd be great. I appreciate it.
Right. I don't think we have anything other on the agenda officially. Does anyone else have anything? Chris, did you have something?
Yeah. Glenn, has there been any more discussion on stepping away from Zoom and stepping back into City Hall for our future meetings?
Glenn and I were talking about that yesterday a little bit. Yeah.
yeah, we were. So I don't mean to be stepping on your toes here, Biff. Yeah,
Not at all.
the short answer is yes, people have talked about it. The longer answer is that yes, we've talked about it, but nothing quite definite yet. Would you like to meet in person again?
Yeah, I'd like to. There was, as I said in the meeting before, that I would like to see some of the people that are presenting their cases to us actually in person,
Right.
or at least face, which we haven't been able to do very much. And I was just wondering if there was just any talk about it, if we're going to do it soon.
Well, what we can do is between over the next week, I'll talk to Caitlin about, we can look into if there's a suitable room available in City Hall or whatever. And we can, I'll definitely agree as the guy who usually runs the meetings to look into that for the next meeting or a meeting to come up soon.
That'd be great. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I'm happy to do it.
That's interesting that you brought that up, Chris. That was actually on my mind too, because Glenn and I had talked about it, and especially seeing, as far as I know, we're one of the only commissions that are still meeting remotely, and the fact that the state has lifted all the the emergency status, and even though we all know that COVID isn't over, but as far as the government is concerned, everything is back to normal. So it makes sense, and I definitely, from one of the folks who have only been on the remote side of this, would be great to sit with you all, face to face, and I think it will just make it a little bit more important.
Yeah.
Anyway, great. Does anyone else have any other comments before we move on?
Yeah, I think I'd like to just reply to that, just to
Oh.
present another
Sure, Joe.
opinion. I find that if we can enhance the quality of our deliberations and enhance the quality of the outcome, then I guess I'm for meeting face to face. But I would like to understand clearly what the advantage.
I missed understand clearly what.
Well, there. I think you just. I think you just answered your question with your audio cutting out. That would be our advantage.
No. That's not. So I'll repeat. I said if we can say that we can enhance the outcome of our decision and our deliberations, then I agree that it would be useful to meet in person. But I'm not convinced of that, frankly. But I don't have experience of it, so I would rely on other people to give some feedback on that. People who have seen the person-to-person meeting of the commission with the applicants and their representatives at City Hall. But I would like to, personally, I would like to lobby for hybrid meetings. I think that there's still, there's a strong argument for some, at least, to have remote meetings remain in place. They've worked adequately, as we've demonstrated and proved for 3 years now. I take this as a proof of concept. The fact that 3 years has Zoom has allowed us to have these meetings successfully. So I think both clearly can work and have worked and will continue to work. And I would advocate for the remote hybrid style meeting, remote and in presence in person meetings to continue. So and let those who wish to go to City Hall, they can do so if the technology is adequate. Okay, thank you. That's all I have.
Thanks, Joe. I would also agree with that. I think it's important that especially for folks who are COVID conscious, I think it's important that you're able to continue to feel safe and to be safe doing this. So I think if we're going to do that, and I am actually, I have been long against meeting back in person and enjoy the remote style, but I think there is a lot to be added, especially for some of us newer members in meeting folks face to face and really understanding it's understanding where folks are coming from and just feeling a little more connection about what we're doing. Again, that's my personal opinion, but I do agree. I think we should make sure that both options are available.
Yeah, Joe, this is Glenn. I almost said something right just before you made your comment that I believe that the default is to have, I believe you used the word hybrid, and I think that's the word they use, hybrid meeting where there's a in-person meeting, but is also available via, Zoom or whatever technology they're using. So I think that is the default even for in-person meetings. But I will definitely, your comments are heard loud and clear, and I understand it, where you're coming from, and agree that it's important for people, especially there's lots of reasons why people might not be able to show up in person but still want to participate. So if we do meet in person, it almost certainly would be a hybrid type environment, especially if the technology for that has gotten to the point. And I know that I buttonholed a lot of people that evening. We had the that job fair type thing up at the City Hall auditorium, and kind of encouraged them to work on getting that technology improved to where those meetings would run more smoothly, because they've had a lot of glitches in the past.
Thank you, Glenn. I appreciate that. I think the hybrid meeting is a good solution. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the same almost in every industry where I have the idea of being in person. Really, like, how much does it add? There's a lot of times it really doesn't add anything. It might even take a lot away from it, because you can be a lot more efficient without having to actually physically go somewhere. But I just enjoyed meeting with the other people on the board that I had literally never seen in person before, and we're making some pretty big decisions. So to me, at least having some interaction like that, it makes it feel a little bit more real and important, I guess. But all right, anyone else have any feelings about the remote hybrid stuff, or any other comments? All right, well, would anyone like to make a motion to adjourn?
I'll make the motion to adjourn. Mark Sedron.
Mark, thank you. Anyone like to second that?
I'll second it. Glenn here.
All right, thank you, Glenn. All right, well then, I guess with that, let's do a roll call here, or a vote on that. And let's see, Andrew Bernhardt.
Yes.
And Mark Syndrome.
Yes.
Christopher Fay.
Yes.
and Joe Morgan,
Yes, thank you.
Chris Sawtell,
Yes.
and Glenn Richards.
Yes.
And last, myself, yes. So that, I guess that will call to order the Historical Commission meeting of Thursday, May 25th, 2023.
Thank you, Vice Chair.
Great.
Great job.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
thanks very much. Thank you, Biff,
Well
for
done.
running the meeting
Have a
for me.
good night.
Hopefully I didn't stumble over this too terribly.
You did fine. thanks.
Perfect. You did perfectly.
All right.
Good night, everybody.
All right. Thank you all.
Good night.
Good night.
Bye-bye.